I mean, it just is insane.
Well, they've created a problem anyway themselves.
Yeah.
And then they've got...
Max, who do you want to be, Lando or Oscar?
At this present time, I'm going to be Lando.
The wheels literally fell off
Yes.
in Baku, didn't it?
When Max overtook Lewis going into turn 1 in Mexico, I thought that was brilliant.
And people started saying things like, maybe he hasn't really got the fire in him.
There's going to be games.
You have got a right as a driver to disobey team orders. It's inevitable. Contact is inevitable.
It can happen.
I didn't stay on track. I got distracted. We went off somewhere, I don't know where. And now I'm looking at the biscuits. Where's Herbert? What time is it? He's late.
Sorry.
Come on.
Yeah, it's normal. I got lost at...
No. Up the junction.
Going. Yes. It was the wrong way.
So we've got some biscuits.
Yeah. Got each other.
We've got the ones with the chocolate on.
My weakness in life.
We all know what they're called, but we're not going to mention it.
No. And then
And the
we
other
have
ones, the Scottish
ones
ones.
without. I'm going to try
see how
and
many
get you
left.
to eat all of them, if I can.
It's
The
quite hard
chocolate
to-
ones.
You don't want to... It dries your mouth out. So anyway, we'll try not to...
That's quite okay.
Because we got some people are going to be listening to us.
Yes,
and so they
you
don't want to hear us munching and dribbling over...
Well, they might do.
over
They might be having a cup of tea
famous
and a
biscuits.
biscuit as well.
We have got a cup
while
of tea.
we're watching.
We
Yeah, but
need
they
a
may
cup
be
of
doing
tea.
the same thing.
So,
Yes.
and
Cheers, all.
at some point, we're going to get a cue to start this podcast.
Yes, we are.
It's going to be loose. This is not going to be a kind of... We're not going to do the, in-depth, what they call it, autopsy of every race, lap by lap.
No.
'Cause
No,
I
thank
can't-
you.
We've got other people that do that. That's
Yes.
So, I mean, we're going to be... What are we going to do? We're going to be riffing on being F1 drivers
Yeah.
who've watched the sport for a long time and also have been inside and also worked together in the broadcast side
Yeah.
of things.
Well, if you do us
Yeah.
coming into car racing, we started at in the same year,
yeah.
effectively.
Yeah,
And
you
we've
came from
come
cars,
through-
I came from bikes.
You came from bikes, yeah. I did the Formula Ford Festival. That was my first
We know.
ever race.
Yes.
First ever race,
Car
the Formula
race.
Ford Festival.
So
yeah,
you arrived,
1983.
basically, if anyone doesn't know, it's because most of you weren't born when this happened. But
Unfortunately.
this guy here, Johnny, turned up in his Quest, which no one ever heard of, thought it was a no-hope chassis, because most people on Van Diemen's
Were the dominant
or
Ford.
Reynards
Reynards.
were there as well.
Yeah.
And so they were the kind of dominant cars, chassis. And then Johnny turns up in his no-hope chassis and basically puts it on pole, gets bumped off in qualifying and starts from the back and beats everyone and wins it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Literally unbelievable. You started from dead last
Yeah.
in one of the heats and kept... And
I
it's
wanted
a-
attention, Damon. I wanted attention.
You got it.
And I thought that was the best way,
So he
best way of doing it.
Johnny burst onto the scene and everyone went, that's not fair. But he's...
It was
Because-
more than fair. My story, yes, is normal because it's from karting. You've got a background with Dad, Graham, and obviously his racing in Formula One especially.
Yeah, I've been to a
But
lot of
that
races.
wasn't you, really, was it? Initially,
Well, not
bikes
no.
was
My
your,
bug was
bikes was your thing.
Bikes, yeah. But So
Yeah.
basically, I literally grew up with hanging around. I mean, most people's dream was to be where I was as a kid. I was literally in the garages
Yep.
and the pits and on the pit wall and with my mum timing these Grand Prix races. So I had a very privileged insight, but it was normal. So because it was normal, it wasn't my choice. It wasn't my thing. And as you know, when you're young, when you're growing up, you want to have your thing. You don't want to have your parents' thing.
No.
And so I think, but I can't really explain it other than I had a go on a motorbike at Silverstone. There was
So how old were you? That's where.
I think I was 10 years old.
Oh right,
maybe
okay.
9.
Oh, so you were quite,
maybe 9.
So we're the same. I was
Yeah.
racing when I was 10.
Yeah, that's when
I got
you
banned
went.
for a year, but I raced when I was 10.
But your bug bit when you went to the seaside and had to go.
Seaside and had to go on a go-kart, and
Yeah,
and
and-
that's where the bug bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd my bug bit was when I had to go on these other guys' monkey bike.
Yeah.
And the Chevlov brothers, and they said, "Here, do you want to have a go?" And I thought, that's jolly kind of them. So I got on this motorbike,
Yeah.
little toy monkey bike, Honda thing, and you twist the twist grip, and then suddenly this experience just goes right through you, which is the engine, it's the power. You
Yeah.
know, suddenly you don't have to pedal anymore. It's basically just do that. You just turn your wrist and off it goes. I just was...
And you were comfortable.
and then I loved it.
Karting was my thing. I was at school doing football, but I was the one when we were playing football. I'd be going, can I have the ball? So I'm putting my little hand up, waving. So can I have a go with the ball?
Yeah.
I wasn't the one. Give me the ball, or I wasn't going to get it. So it wasn't really me.
No,
but karting seemed to just open up my senses, I suppose.
So it's a singular sport. In other words, it's an individual sport. So it's like suddenly when you're in a team, you're right, there's this dynamic where you've got to have the confidence to inspire people. And I did notice that with team sports. I didn't really kind of get them. I didn't get rugby and cricket. I didn't. And anyway, we both went off into our individual sports, and that's how we ended up in car racing.
Yes.
Because...
and then that journey.
And anyway, so your quest, and you won, and then you've had your racing career, and then after we were asked to go and work for a broadcaster.
Indeed,
which we did I always say we come from the sky.
Very good.
But
like it.
We've now fallen from the sky.
We have, but we're resurrecting ourselves. I think right here, right now.
What, are we like little angels, or are we like acorns? We've just
I'm
dropped.
Definitely a little acorn.
But anyway,
yes.
Or dead birds or something.
Yeah. But it's good. I'm glad that we're going to be doing something that involves the Formula One, because it's just in a very good place.
This is a great opportunity, isn't it, to have a chance now. So hopefully we haven't left everyone behind already with our tittle tattle.
No, we've got that out of the way.
That's how we got here, and the race media has given us a podcast. Stay on track. So that's the ambition.
Yeah.
To stay on whatever it is we're supposed to be talking about, which will be inevitably 99%, I say, about Formula One.
Yeah. All right then.
Yeah.
Let's start it off.
It's the 1% I'm worried about.
Yeah. Well, but let's start that one off. But right, where are those podiums for you? Start it off there.
That could be Portugal. It's Brazil. That's the Brazilian trophy, okay. I think.
Yeah.
And then that's Spa.
That's obvious.
So the people listening to this can't understand what I'm talking about.
No, exactly. We're pointing. Yeah. There's a picture
behind us. There's pictures of us celebrating our victories.
Yes. Exactly.
On the podium.
Yeah. And then mine, Silverstone. What was your last one?
The last. That might be the World Championship one in Japan.
Pointing at the one in the middle there.
Yeah, I think it could be.
Okay.
I'm going to put my glasses on.
So you can see. It is you. It is you. I can't see that.
Anyway.
No, I can't see that. So mine is simple, because you've got 3. I've got 3 on this board. On this screen. Yeah. Exactly. And how many did you get overall wins?
22.
There you go. Unbelievable. God damn it. There's all my 3 that are up there. Silverstone, Monza and Nürburgring.
You won 3?
Up there on the screen. I won 3.
Oh, I thought you had 2.
No. Anyway. You are a nasty person.
Deep down,
got that dark side. You got that dark side. No, exactly.
But you've got to have a bit of edge, do you? To be a racing driver, you can't.
Yes, you
can't be, happy for everyone else.
No,
all the time.
No, not at all. And that's what we're seeing at the present time with this championship that we've got going on.
Well, no, it is a brilliant championship.
Isn't
it's
it?
Brewing up to. We are talking. Well, hopefully you'll be listening to this before Brazil.
Yeah.
So we've had a bit of a turnaround. We've had a bit of a shake-up. We thought it was all done and dusted.
Everybody did.
It was, how can anybody challenge Oscar? He had it all set up. The best car.
Yeah.
Points
mentally
advantage.
In the right place.
Yeah. And then the wheels literally fell off in Baku, didn't it? That's where it all started, it seemed to me. Why? What happened there, do you think?
Well, the wheels fell off Lando in Holland, strangely enough.
I suppose you're right, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But actually the bounce back has been immense from that difficult race weekend. I know there was all the kerfuffle we had in Monza with the Papaya rules that they've got, but Lando, I have to say, has come back massively strong. And actually, last time out, he looked mentally very good in Mexico.
Yeah,
he looked so strong and so relaxed. I haven't seen him so relaxed. I think that's a very powerful
something's happened
as well.
Something has. He's either had someone giving him a little bit of guidance, or he's found inspiration from within himself. He's had a little talking to himself or something, because these guys are on the verge of greatness.
You got it.
I mean, there's all sorts of kinds of greatness. I mean, you could be, Mahatma Gandhi or something like that. That's great. But, we're talking in the terms of our sport, Formula One World Championship.
Yeah. And you're the greatness in this room at the moment.
And Grand Prix, I'm going to give you this. Grand Prix winners, 3, a hat trick,
A hat-trick,
Grand Prix wins
Yes.
is also a kind of modest greatness.
I'll take that.
I'll take that. It's a lot greater than some people's achievements.
But you know very well,
yeah,
with a championship battle that's going up, what's it like? Give us an idea of what it's like being the intense part of being a driver in the bubble.
It's fantastic. It's exciting, but it's also, it gets to you. There's no doubt about it. There's the weight, and I wonder whether that's the Oscar problem, if it is such a thing as a problem, is there's this weight of, literally a weight. You cannot get to the end. You've got to lead. You wish they could call it now. If they stop the race and if they could stop the championship and say, and now we have to declare a winner because can't do the last 6 races. Then, but I mean, as we're talking now, he's not in the lead. He's 1 point behind. But for a long time, Oscar was holding this weight, and I reckon that. They all talk about there's no pressure. Do you remember Nigel Mansell?
Mm-hmm. I do remember him.
It was a foregone conclusion he was going to become a world champion with the car he had, which was the Williams car, the FW14, which is the active car. And it was way better than anyone else's, and he was winning it by miles, sort of thing. So, and everyone kept on saying to Nigel, you're going to win the championship. He deferred it. He kicked it into the long grass. Every time he was asked the question, he wouldn't go there. He wouldn't discuss it. And I think mentally you have to do that. You have to say, it's like in a race, it's no good starting to think about the checker flag when you're 10 laps from the end. Because the moment you do that, you want it to be finished, but you're not there yet. You've got to get to the 10, and you mustn't get out of that state of mind. So in my championship year, I was in a bubble. I had no idea what else was happening in the world.
Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. Because I remember Silverstone of that year, championship year, seeing you in the pit lane at Silverstone in the morning. And as we walked towards each other, I went, "Morning, Damon." And you went straight past as if I wasn't even there.
But that was nothing to do with concentrating about the World Championship. I just didn't feel like saying hello.
Well, 10 minutes later you did.
Anyway, you must have interrupted one of my deep thoughts.
What I'm trying to say is that was where all your energies were just thrown into the job that you was having to do for that weekend. And it was very obvious to me that that's where you had to be.
Well, I'm guessing there's all sorts of approaches to it. I mean, I'm sure that Senna's approach or Prost's approach or Mansell's approach were different slightly, but I do think they all understand the importance of this thing. And I got the sense, I think this has been a bit of a surprise for people like Oscar and Lando, because suddenly their car last year was competitive. They suddenly found something. And then they started this year with a big advantage. And I think they started off the season thinking, this is great, isn't it? We've all got a great car. We're going to win all the races. It's wonderful.
Yep.
And it was virtually was true. But then the penny dropped that one of us is going to be world champion. And I don't want it to be you. So we are now in McLaren, Johnny.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be, Lando or Oscar?
At this present time, I'm going to be Lando. I think there has been a shift, a mighty shift mentally, and I think that's going to put him in a much better place. And there's one question as well to this as well. Do you like being the chased or the chaser? I
think I was getting back to my point.
Do that first.
I didn't stay on track. I got distracted. We went off somewhere I don't know where, and now I'm looking at the biscuits. So my point was, if you're this penny dropping, this kind of dawning of the realization of maybe I could become world champion because I'm Oscar now, okay? So I'm thinking, this is all going brilliantly. I'm leading the champ. All I have to do is keep Lando in his box, and just he can come second. I've still got some points I can pay out. It's like with a fishing line. You can just let it bit go, but as long as it doesn't get to the end of the reel before you get to the end of the championship. So, he had the luxury of points advantage. And then suddenly he drops the ball. Now, I remember Mark Webber saying this guy had not even so much as done a corner on a car before. And then he gets to Baku and he does 2 tubs, I think. I think he basically literally the wheels fell off.
Yeah, quite literally.
So,
yes.
and the only explanation you can have for that is that somehow the mindset has changed from being someone who just was looking at each race and seeing it as an individual goal or an individual challenge or a separate individual challenge, which is actually the right way to go about it. In other words, if you just take each race at a time, then what will be will be.
Yes, so, that's the better way of doing it, for sure, yes. In Baku, it's almost like he was chasing himself and trying to push himself out of a comfort zone that he didn't need to. Well, that's what it seemed like.
That's what I gleaned that from what he said, was that he's analysed it in retrospect, and he sort of said maybe he pushed too hard. So it's not in him to push beyond his limits. So up until now, he's kept it all in check, and they're both incredibly cool on the radio.
Yeah,
I mean, they are in interviews. Oscar
very much so.
He's open, but he doesn't say too much, and he doesn't get riled by questions, I've noticed. So, I mean, there were some questions he's been getting recently, as in, do you think you're losing it? Can you imagine how you feel if someone is saying that? He's
asking that, yeah, sure.
And he seems to have coped with that very well, that pressure. But something happened, and I think he's tripped over this problem with the realization that you could become world champion, and you get that maybe a rush of blood to the head or that overexcitement, and it's a bit like I use golf as an analogy a lot.
You do.
Just warning you now, everyone. So I'm sorry, but if a golf championship is 4 days long,
there's going to be a lot on golf.
So, and everyone goes out of the starting gates. They're trying to get an advantage, but the trouble is, if you're leading on day one, you've got 3 more days of this. And it's like 5-6 hour rounds of golf, and the pressure. I mean, we saw it with Greg Norman, who could have won the Masters. Or was it the Open? Anyway, Nick Faldo's plodding along behind him. Just steady pars, steady birdies, steady pars,
doing his job, and doing his rhythm.
You've been out in the lead, and you've never won a major, and he started to crumble.
Yeah,
because you're carrying that load mentally for so long. And so I think that finally those things have happened with Oscar, and I think he's feeling it's cramped his style. But that's because I'm Oscar and you're Lando. So now Lando, tell us what's Lando doing.
Well, Lando's interesting because a lot of people have been critical. I was probably one of those as well, because he's very, very honest. And sometimes honesty is not something you want to get out there to the media because your teammate's going to hear about it, and sometimes I think your teammate can use that as a very powerful weapon against you. And Lando, I think, as time has gone by, especially this year, has realised that I'll do my little comments as I always do, but I will make sure I'm
having a biscuit while you keep talking.
You are,
right?
yeah, not a chocolate one. I know. I'm very impressed with that one. I'm going to make sure you have all those chocolate ones by the end of this one.
You've got about 3 minutes.
Yeah, good. So he has realised that he needs to completely use all the energies that he's got and not waste those energies on that honesty that comes out, because that honesty, I think, becomes a very negative thing for you. Now, I think he's able to absorb a lot of what's going on in the bubble of the engineers' room, the bubble of the Formula One paddock, and the bubble of the social media world that's going on. So I think capacity is something that he's now learning and understanding, that I've got to have capacity to absorb new things that will come into my life. Maybe they're going to be away from the circuit, but there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be in the circuit at the same time. And I think he's able to get rid of some of that baggage that you don't need, and that just gives you more space. And what does that give you? More freedom. And when it gives you more freedom, you're more relaxed. And when you're more relaxed, and it was interesting in Mexico, that was the best start he's ever done.
Very noticeable.
Very, very noticeable. And then it was noticeable saying, I was so relaxed this weekend. And there's the proof in the pudding, that you have that ability to have that space to absorb everything that's going on around you, and he had so much time actually, and that allowed him to sort of get off that line so quick. So he's moved in a probably into the next level that he needs to be, where I think Oscar was probably slightly ahead at the beginning of the year, but I think it's just I think he's just gone ahead of Oscar at this present time. Long way to go.
That was a brilliant exposition of the thinking, the inner mind working of a potential champion, Lando Norris.
Well, you know it better than I do.
But what it made me think, Herbert, was
Herbert.
What it made me think
Always
that
done that.
because there's any number of guys like us. Well, there aren't actually. There's only us really. But there's other people out there who like to say what they think about this sport,
Yes.
and they, particularly when you were racing, there was. I used to have Sterling Moss comment on what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
Jackie
Stewart.
They all want to have a go, don't they? And
Yeah.
now here we are talking about, what they should have done and what they shouldn't have done. You don't want to do it like that. That sort of criticism.
Got a story on that with Jackie we'll come to.
But so I was talking about I lived in a bubble
Yeah.
in the championship, but I didn't really because I was aware of what was being said. The previous year, I listened too much to criticism.
Yeah.
And so in my championship year, I thought I did actually put earplugs in and just not listen to what was going on.
Yeah.
Although I was conscious of it. But here we have a season where there has been criticism of Lando. And people started saying things like, maybe he hasn't really got the fire in him. He seems to be saying, oh, I don't care, we all live, we all die.
Yes.
And no one will care in 100 years' time. I'll tell you what, you're not going to be here in 100 years' time. You're going to be here in the next few years, and you're going to really care if you don't win the chat. So he knows that's not true.
Yes.
Okay. And I think also when Oscar dumped it in Baku and gave like an open goal to Lando, he didn't take it. And then he got criticism.
Then he got more, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, as we just talked about, the last few races, he's been on fire. And Mexico was.
Well, Max has been on fire.
Max has been a factor, the Max factor.
Big factor, yes.
So
but you're right.
People don't remember that. So some sort of Max factor was some sort of product.
But you're right. But there has been a massive bounce.
So both of them been attacking, and Oscar's definitely felt the heat. But I mean, I think with Lando, if we stick to that one,
yeah,
I think his response has been incredible. Now, is that a response that's motivated from him only, or as a result of criticism? I mean, do the team say to him, if you want to be better, you're going to have to do this? Or is it all, this is something we don't know the answer to?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just raising it as a question. But I think it is a fact that criticism gives you something to think about. And maybe some criticism is valid. And some
more than it ever used to be back in when we were racing.
Yeah.
Way more with social media, for example. So, yes, you've got to deal with a lot more than we used to.
And also comments from your fellow drivers, because they post stuff, don't they, a little bit. I mean, they're usually pretty good about talking about each other. But, I mean, Lewis mentioned how you have to race Max. He said you've got to be the guy's going to be ruthless.
Yes, and you've got to be. Yeah,
we haven't really mentioned Max, but here he is. Is either the T-Max or
he's the coming man, isn't he?
But he's got a car he can do it with. They've done something, and he's on the move definitely. But he didn't maximise, no pun intended, in Mexico. Lando did.
Yeah.
So that's kind of taken the wind out of his sails a bit. But we've got this Brazil race coming up.
Yeah.
Which is a sprint.
As well, yes. Nice little addition.
And he's quite good there quite often, Max. And he's famously used his, I think, questionable driving tactics to keep people either behind him or overtake people.
Sure.
What do you think about that? Your ex-driver steward?
Yes. Well, there are... I think, as we know very, very well, there are situations that you don't want to give up your spots, or you want to try and overtake the guy in front. It's how you execute that, And I think what we've seen, I think we've both been critical of what we've seen. But we saw, for example, when Max overtook Lewis going into turn 1 in Mexico, I thought that was brilliant. Right on the edge, very late, but he made the move. There was a little bit of tyre rubbing, and that's part of racing. It's not going to be completely clean, as in no one's going to touch each other, because that's not how it works. Now, there have been those occasions where, like Lewis has said to Lando, you've got to play hardball to be able to take it to him, I suppose. But he's up for that. He enjoys that, actually, Max as well, which is a powerful thing. He intimidates people. And I remember that from Ayrton, from Alan, from Michael. They had a bit of an intimidation element.
When you were kind of karting king, were you an intimidatory driver?
I tried to intimidate all the way through. I was, whatever I did in Formula 3.
Were you nice and friendly when you were in the paddock?
Yes. Very, very friendly. Yes. But that was
smiley,
but
happy
I knew
Johnny.
That was a powerful thing.
Put your helmet on.
Yeah. And turn into a little bit of an animal, a little bit of elbows out.
I mean, I didn't do karting, so
no.
This is the style of driving which kind of I didn't get because I came from bike racing, and basically people, they do now, but they didn't used to barge into you because you just as easily knock yourself off.
Indeed.
And also overtaking in a motorbike, you've got far more track. There's more space. You don't need to squeeze people onto the grass, really.
No.
So, but car racing, hard to get two cars to go around a corner together. And what we saw in Mexico, thinking about this comment from Lewis about being ruthless.
Yeah.
When Max came back at him and went deep into, was it turn 1? And they kind of collided.
Yeah.
And they kind of biffed Lewis out of the way. There wasn't a word. There wasn't anything in the. I don't think there was a penalty for Max, or
no, there was no note.
It was seen as just.
It was
a racing.
Good. Maybe there was a note, but I thought that was racing. That's what to me racing is all about.
So it's inevitable. Contact is inevitable.
It can happen. It can happen. The biggest thing that I think, Damon, that is very, very different. How many racing rules did we have when we were racing?
Well, there were no penalties. There were no rules. People didn't know what to do. If someone's, when I came to car racing and I watched it for the first time, I could not believe how they went about things. They literally decided championships by one guy crashing into the other.
Yes,
and everyone thought that's decided that. That's you. And I remember standing on the side of the track watching. I think it was Russell Spence.
Russell Spence. There's a name from the past.
I mean, with the championship, I think it may have been Johnny Dumfries or someone who was racing against him. I can't remember. Anyway, they came out of clearways. Yeah. And just he took the other guy out.
Yeah, no, sure.
One of them took each other out. I can't remember.
Well, there's Ayrton and Martin Brundle.
Ayrton and Martin Brundle.
Same
thing. It was literally how it was, how a championship was decided.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, kind of rather tragically, in my case, that's also applied when I got to Adelaide in '94, but with me and Michael. But I hadn't learnt that lesson that is how people decide. But his car
was broken as well.
Well, that's another story. But the issue is whether or not that is implicit or whatever. It's just understood that's how people decide a championship. Because with Prost and Senna, when the first time it happened. It was Prost kind of. Now I look at it, and you're very good at this and I think you've got the insight, and I never really had the insight as to what to expect. Because for me, I just thought you're not supposed to do that, are you?
Sure,
but you spotted Nico Rosberg.
Oh, in
qualifying
Monaco,
in Monaco, and then he admitted it years later.
Years later.
So just in case people don't remember, there was a qualifying in Monaco. Famously, if you get on provisional pole and manage to stop the qualifying session, then you can keep the pole position. So, final moments of qualifying.
Little wiggle and moving and weaving.
And you spotted that was fake.
Yeah, totally so. Yeah.
And I didn't.
Well, it's just not, but it wasn't normal. The whole movement is something you don't soar at the steering wheel as early as he was soaring at the steering wheel. And then he goes off the circuit, not at high speed, but not at low speed. You go, well, you could have got around that corner without a problem. So for me, it was quite obvious. But I think, from what I remember, I was the only one in the team that thought actually did it on purpose. But then that's where my smiley nice side out of the cockpit is very different when in the cockpit. And I will try and use any of the gamesmanship that I can. And I then go back to Max. That's what Max does so brilliantly with the rules that we have. And I hate the rules that we have. Yes.
So the
and
rules,
he uses those.
And I think I was very critical last year's Brazilian Grand Prix, and I just called him Dick Dastardly,
That's right.
which is a famous cartoon character from the 19 whatever.
Yeah. You were very popular.
The 1900s. No, it wasn't that long ago. It was only 1960s, but 1970s. But anyway, so Dick Dastardly, fiendish character who resorted to foul means to gain an advantage in wacky races. So I likened Max's driving to that. But of course, what he was doing was he was saying, well, the rules say this. If you're taking the line, you're overtaking on the inside, and you've got your, I can't remember, it's mirrors and front wheels.
Now it's mirrors.
You're the blooming FIA.
Yeah, now it's mirrors.
I can't keep up. They keep changing the bloody rules.
I know, but that's because the drivers want to keep changing it, and the teams want to keep changing it. They want to make it as in the most difficult way that you can't pass.
So
that's why there's all those rules.
He knows that if you dive for the apex and then got
get
no
to the
hope
apex first,
of making the exit. Yeah. We saw it with Kimi Antonelli, didn't we? And Ollie Behrman, was it in Austin? The rules are if you got to the apex first. So people take these massive dives from miles back, no hope of making the corner because they know the rules would allow them to then run the person off the track.
Yes. What's changed with Max, just so I'll go back to that one in Mexico, weirdly enough, is because you remember Mexico Turn 2, and I can't remember, that was with Max and Lando, I think, last year. You remember Max, I think, pushed Lando off into the grass, if I remember correctly, at Turn 2.
I mean, there's so many of those, I can't keep up.
Now, the rule used to be that you had to give space.
Yeah.
And that was where it all got a little bit. That's why he got a penalty, because he didn't give Lando space.
Said, but that's not racing.
No, and then he goes, no racing. Right.
It's not racing.
So then they've changed the rule, and I remember George actually was very vocal on it, and I totally agree with it. Is when you have someone going around the outside, you're on the inside, you're on the outside. I should be able to take my racing line, because actually I'm on the racing line.
Yeah,
you're not, and the rule now is that you don't have to give space.
Yeah.
So that has changed as well, but that's a more racy way of doing things. You're aware that I'm going to use all that road.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to risk it? Probably not. But when the rule was you've got to give space, you would go for it.
Well, this is where
that's where it all gets very.
I mean, I got a bit annoyed because Brazil last year, Max uses these tactics, and then first corner for the main race, he goes round the outside of everyone, and they gave him room, and you want to go, no, have him off.
No, sure, yeah.
But I mean, if that was him.
Yeah,
he'd have run you wide.
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
and they don't.
And so would I.
So other people don't want to race like that, but he understands what the rules say.
Well, it's having the skill set to do that as well.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's your spatial awareness. I remember I used to use that a lot. Spatial awareness. It's always some have much better spatial awareness than the others, and it's the ones who can get right on that edge, and sometimes overstep the mark.
Yeah.
But what I like about Max, he will try anything to be able to get himself either in front or trying to keep someone behind. And I like that. Sometimes I think it might go over the top, but I love what he does. That's what racing is all about.
And also he divides opinion, or divides so if you're in the stewards room, people are scratching their heads going, is that allowed? And he's worked it out that the rules say that if you got it's this, then I'm allowed to do it.
So you do the stewards.
Yeah.
Well, we have driving standards that we have to abide by because it's the teams and the drive. Most people think when there is a penalty given, it's because the stewards decide, which we do, that's a penalty. But the guidelines, the driver guidelines that are done by the drivers and the teams, is that what they want us.
Yeah.
To apply those penalties for. But when we apply them, then someone gets all hissy-fitty over the decision. Yeah, but that's what you wanted. That's what you wanted.
Lewis is the guy that a lot of people regard as being a clean racer. Yeah, but he's got more points than penalty points than just about anybody. I don't know what he does. He manages to get.
Yeah,
it's like he always comes off worse in these kind of deals. But I mean. That's the interesting thing, is that I think that if you just possession is 9/10 of the law. In other words, just do it, and then we'll argue about it later.
Well, that's the other thing
that's
as
what
well.
Michael used to. That's his approach
as well.
to
You're right, absolutely, yes.
But I think the watershed moment was. There's always been what I would call dastardly driving. But I think Ayrton was the first to really kind of go, okay, if we're here to race, this is how I race. And he was very ruthless. I mean, the T-boning or knocking Alan or not giving him any margin into turn 1 in Suzuka.
Yeah. But he did tell everybody
he was going to do it, which is like, that's not very wise, is it? I just want to say, if you're contemplating any illegal acts, Bernie had this interesting thing. Bernie Ecclestone used to say that because he had some death threats, and he'd wander around kind of quite happily, apparently unconcerned. And someone asked him, "So why aren't you worried about these death threats?" He said, "No, because people never do what they say they're going to do." He does have
a lot of trust with that one.
I mean, so he a famous, very quotable person. Yeah. Some of them a little bit close to the bone, but anyway.
Yeah, shall we move on a little bit? Because we're talking about racing.
Stuck on. Have we got off track or we stayed on track?
I think we went off and on. I think we got stuck in the gravel a couple of times. Yes, exactly. Right. The McLaren Papaya rules.
I'm glad someone's taking control now because I was feeling
I know. Well, let's do a little bit of that. So the rules of engagement and how that
Papaya rules.
The Papaya rules. Yeah. What do you think of that from a team's perspective? Let's do it from a team's perspective.
I think, again, it confuses people. I think it confuses the drivers, it confuses the team, it confuses people watching.
Yeah.
They go, oh, what is going on? I mean, there's a whole history of team orders being confusing to the fans. I mean, I can remember watching Monaco Grand Prix with 2 McLarens, and I can't remember which one. It might have been Mika and David Coulthard. Anyway, we thought they were racing, but it turned out afterwards they were just, they'd agreed not to overtake each other or race each other at the end. And I remember feeling a little bit cheated by that.
Yeah.
And
so you're not a fan? Because I'm not a fan.
Well, unless I'm racing and I want them to tell my teammate to back off.
God, if we were teammates and we were going for the championship, you wouldn't have known what was going to hit you from my side. Oh, yeah. If we had a little meeting together. Yes, whoever gets into turn 1 first, that is the one who's going to win that race and win that championship. I would have just driven over you to make sure that I did win.
I don't doubt it.
But it never happened.
No. Sadly for you, you never got close enough to find out what you would have done. And we spun.
It's another dig. You do these so cleverly.
But we raced Formula 4 together. It was quite clean, wasn't it? Formula 3?
Sort of.
I can't remember.
I think there was always a bit of wheel banging and stuff.
I could have had you off loads of times. As I'm just saying.
You had me off quite a few times as well. I'm not sure he went the other way. Probably. I probably squeezed you a couple of times. I was good at squeezing people.
Let's not pick
I was good at squeezing people.
Come on, it's all water under the bridge.
Okay, right. Yes. So
yes. A long time ago.
So
now.
Rules.
Nobody's interested.
Yes. Rules. I'm not a fan of it, and I would just say it because I don't want them dictating the outcome of a championship. And that is very possibly what could happen.
No, so this is getting back to the entertainment thing, isn't it? Because there was a quote recently from I saw on social media. So I'm presuming I can refer to it, but it was some sort of conference that the director of communications for Formula One, Liam Parker, was talking at, and he described Formula One now as they regard it as entertainment. So it is primarily entertainment.
Yeah.
And so the business, if you like, needs to give the fans what they want, which is no holes barred, wheel-to-wheel combat on a track. Now, that is, I'd agree with that, but if you're at what point? Because what people can get confused about and what needs to be remembered is that this sport has got 2 championships. It's got a Constructors' Championship and it's got the Drivers' Championship.
Yes.
And the teams naturally...
Most important one.
Don't forget, the teams employ the drivers, so they're employees of the team.
Sure.
And all the prize money is divvied up according to the Constructors' Championship, not the Drivers' Championship. No. Originally, it was just the Drivers' Championship. That's right. You could literally, if you're a Fangio, be leading the Drivers' Championship and then for Mercedes and then go to Alfa Romeo and take your championship with you.
Yeah.
Now, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? If you're talking about entertainment. So it's just an idea. It's just a thought. I mean, yeah.
Like it. Yes, like you're thinking.
So, drivers could go petition the teams. At every paddock, every race meeting would be like drivers running around going, I want to get in that car. Or how much for my drive at Mercedes? Anyway, that's entertainment.
Like your thought. I like your thought. Yeah, very good.
We'll leave that one there.
Yeah, might come back to it.
But anyway, so the point is this: a team, their success, and they will say to the driver, "Look, our success, our future success, that you just signed to drive for us for next year. We need those points. We need the championship because that helps us give you a better car."
Get that?
Okay, that's fair enough. But we've done that now. The constructors is over.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, what happens once that constructors championship is won? From the driver's perspective, they're both fighting for that championship. Should it still be the team that still dictates what's going on?
No.
Yes? No. Exactly.
No, see, because I'm very much...
Blimey. Crikey, everybody. I thought you agreed to that. I thought, what the hell are you going
But I've always taken the view, Johnny, because my career, your career, we have fought our way up the greasy pole or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Rickety ladder or whatever it is.
Rickety ladder. Very good. Yeah.
And I've always thought the sport is too heavily weighted towards the teams.
Yes.
Basically.
It's sort of crept up over the last 10 or 15 or so years, 20 years maybe.
So you've got a right, because no one else is going to look after your career for you.
No.
You have got a right as a driver to disobey team orders. If they say come second, you can go, do you know what? This is a race victory. I've never won a Grand Prix and you're telling me not to do it.
Yeah.
No,
which is sorry. If you remember Hungary, that's what they said to Lando basically when he was leading and led it back and says, "You need us."
And also, Colapinto did.
Yes, indeed.
Was it in Austin?
That was Austin.
Was it in Mexico?
Austin.
I'm losing track.
I'll think about it while you're saying it. Austin. Yeah.
Austin. It was Austin, wasn't it? He disobeyed. Yeah.
Yes.
That was.
And I thought.
Exactly. Well, and together with a lot of Argentinians. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And
it was against Flavio as well. So get in there.
Yeah. So I think that went in his favour. Whereas you remember when David Coulthard was asked to come second and he could have won his race and he had to let Mika win. There wasn't any championship consequences for that, was there?
No, not for that.
And you go, come on. Anyway, so I think there's loads of examples we can give, but I would say McLaren have to just back off. I know that they will do that, but now they've got a problem because they've got Jaws.
Well, they've created a problem anyway themselves.
Yeah.
And then they've got
Max.
Yeah. Coming into play.
T-Max or Jaws, whatever we call him. Anyway, he's like but he's had a bit of a stumble in Mexico, as we just said.
I know. What a bad stumble. Third. What a bad stumble. What a difficult weekend.
But he's gained on Oscar.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's the interesting thing. He lit from
so
the
they haven't
championship,
had
he's actually gained.
Was it 1989 the last time that McLaren had a 1-2? They want that 1-2. I know Zach wants that 1-2.
Of course.
They want to have this year.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yes. And to be honest, it will happen naturally anyway. If you let them breathe and let them do their thing without being thrown in.
Because you know, Johnny, what happened is there's 1 point in it. We just had this conversation.
Yeah.
So who's got the lead?
Let them get on with it. You're going to get your 1-2.
Lando's going to go down like turn one.
You're going to get your
Oscar's going into.
Yeah, you're going to get your 1-2 in the championship.
And Oscar's on the outside.
I'm doing the championship.
This is what's going to happen. They're going to go down. They'll qualify. Max will be third.
Yes.
It's in Brazil. Yeah. This is a sprint. Okay. Max will be third. Lando will be on pole. Oscar will be second. They'll go down to turn one and they'll go, I'm having you off. And then Max will win.
But again, he will intimidate them into doing that as well, which is going to be absolutely interesting to watch and brilliant at the end of the day. So yes, so I mean
they've got this human nature, isn't there, involved in this? This is the thing that we love. You know, the point is it's human nature, and when sport shows character, it doesn't create character. You know, reveals what sort of person, and we know what Max is made of. I mean, he's an out fighter, and he'll take every opportunity that's coming. So that's the fly in the ointment.
Well, I'm going to finish this one off by saying, if we go down to Abu Dhabi and whoever wins or finishes in front of the other will win the World Championship, would you play the dirty game like Nico did, let's say, in Monaco, for example. I'm just going to say, I would rather go against the team, win the championship, have that World Championship trophy on my mantelpiece, and be a happy man, and potentially lose my job the following year.
Yeah, we'll take
because
it. Because
that's the whole.
Just look at me, Johnny. I'm a world champion. Look at me.
I've got a little Le Mans trophy. I know a little one. It's very small, but diddy little thing. Now that would be me. That would be me. I'd go against them.
If you could win it fair and square without,
of course,
resorting to foul, because people don't like it that this championship, this sport, it does get a negative reaction when there's something fiendish that happens. Famously, I can take your pick, any number of fiendish things that have happened and people get upset. I mean, in Mexico, they booed Lando. Why? Not because he did anything dirty, because the team gave him 3 points or whatever it is over Oscar in Monza. That's the claim. I don't really.
No, I'm not sure understand that.
Do you not think if that's the explanation that was given in the press conference? But I've
heard a Sergio Perez one as well.
Well, I think maybe it's
when he was with Max, but I don't know if that's right.
Yeah. You don't think it's because he beat Ferrari because they're massive Ferrari fans?
No, sure.
And I think they wanted.
I must admit, I don't really know if he was a dark, nasty person that you couldn't gel with because he was just awkward with everybody. I'd understand it, but he's not like that. Yeah, just a bit. I just say once the helmet's on, visor down. You're right. You. Yes,
you just admitted it on. You just said if you were racing, you'd do the foul.
Yes, I would do the. I guess I do visor down. No one can see me doing it.
Okay,
so I'm happy with that. But I don't know why. I don't understand. He's a nice guy. I don't understand why they would so. But I know
pictures. Look how happy he is.
We're pointing at the pictures on the wall again, and it's me at Silverstone, and I have to thank you once again, Mr. Hill.
There you do. You do.
I do for crashing into Michael.
That's
what friends do. That's what friends do.
If I can't help myself, then I'm very happy to help you. All right, so we got a good championship. And do you get? I watch the races and I get a bit of adrenaline. Do you get adrenaline watching?
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
I do. I still do. I like getting in the cockpit with them and trying to work out what they're thinking and what they're doing. Well, it's a bit tight in there, but I don't care. As I said,
mentally, you mean your mind racing?
Yes, I know because I find
can't help it.
I can't help it because I find it fascinating. Yeah. The differences between each driver and how they apply themselves to it, and then when they get in the cockpit, same thing. So yes, I do try to really get into the moment with them.
Now it's a bit of a sod to get in and out of because the traffic in
Brazil,
in Sao Paulo can be awful.
It's always
and
awful.
the road's a bit bumpy. But anyway, the track itself,
mega.
Rate it.
Mega.
It's one of those. It was never intended to be.
It's outstanding.
It's outstanding.
It's outstanding.
Because I think I like it because it's got undulations,
massive,
huge changes of altitude or whatever we call it, elevation, and also cambers,
off cambers,
sometimes off cambers,
on and offs.
It's got bumps,
brows.
It's got a really super flat out uphill climb and then a big stop at turn one.
Into turn one, yeah, sure. Oh, it's a challenge, and that's in the dry, and then you put a little bit of wetness onto that
which happens nearly all the time.
Pretty much so, and then it turns into another animal. But it's a real challenge because what we always try and do is hunt for the grip, isn't it? And if you remember a couple of years ago, I can't remember how many years ago, when Max was doing sort of the karting outside on the outside and was gaining over everybody, no one else was doing
around
it,
the outside,
which was a weird thing, and that's what you can do in Brazil. So it's got this wonderful flow for one. It's got the wonderful challenge because there are all the different types of corners that are there, from the long radius corners to the tighter ones. To that long straight as well. And then the weather gets thrown in at the same time. Yeah. And then the biggest thing, and you'll know this probably more when you won, 96, Brazilian Grand Prix, is the crowd. Yeah. They are so enthusiastic. We see it in Mexico, but I think the Brazilians were really the first ones who came alive.
Super enthusiastic. I mean, they've had a great run with their champions, haven't they? Fittipaldi and...
Nelson and Ayrton, even Rubens, they were very supportive with. Felipe. Yeah.
So they love the sport. They're very passionate. They love Formula One. They are partisan, but that's understandable. But it's a great track. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going this year.
Okay. Not me.
But I'm going to give it a miss. But
no, sure. Where did that rank, actually, that win that you had, 96?
Well, the one in 96, when it was, just recap, what happened was it tipped down.
You did?
To the point where the drains were overflowing and it was fountains coming back up through the gutters on the warm-up, on the lap to the grid.
Yeah.
And so it was just torrential rain. And then the sun came out. So I remember sitting on the grid and sitting on the grid in baking sunshine, but the track was completely soaked and we had wets on. Yeah. And I was on pole and I got away, but of course the people behind couldn't see a thing. So I was the only person who could see anything, but I was the first person to hit the puddles as well.
People used to race in the wet.
Yeah. And at the end of that one, I won.
Yeah.
Niki Lauda said he thought I drove like a god.
So, it was. His English wasn't very, very, very good.
Maybe
so
he said something
got
else.
Mistake. Yeah, it was.
I misheard him.
Yeah.
You hear what you want to hear, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
But I mean, God from Niki Lauda.
Go on, you want a biscuit? Go on.
And I have to say, I agreed with him.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Now, my best, I think, was fourth in Rio, my first Grand Prix. But then I was fourth in 93 when you were second to Ayrton.
Yeah.
Right. What about the race this year? What do we think?
Okay, so
is going to happen?
Currently, well, if you go on Mexico's performance, I don't know what Lando was on or whether it was the car, but this feel thing they talk about is very interesting because so many drivers talk about this subtle change of feeling. I mean, Lewis has been on about it with being at Ferrari.
We had that. It's not new.
I know, but they are.
It's not new, is it?
What we didn't have, Johnny, is these critical, tiny, temperature-sensitive tyre windows.
Well, I will argue that and say when we had good years, I do remember that, they were good for 3 laps in qualifying. They had a massive drop, and then you could get them to come back.
Yeah.
So we had it then, but we had no sensors or anything telling us what we had to feel. So, going on. So I would disagree and say actually the good years were the one that did go up and down all over the place a little bit more.
So that makes me think maybe there's too much information. In other words, the engineers know, the drivers know where this tiny window is. And so because some of them talk about it, they got out the car at the end of that race and they weren't tired because they're actually not pushing.
No one was sweating.
Because they're not, because they can't go any faster. Because it's
the quickest way A to B. And that's how the strategy
so they're managing temperatures, tyre temperatures. So it's a bit of an odd. Anyway,
Brakes
my point is,
Lando
felt he was hooked up. His car was hooked up. I think Oscar drove brilliantly in the mid race when he had to fight, and he really seemed to be I think he'd found his pace again. Mm-hmm. So it's possible he's got recovered some confidence, and also he's now got the weight of that thing. He now knows. He's not holding the championship, the ring, It's not destabilising him. He's got to fight back.
Yeah.
So it's a straight fight with him. Obviously, Max is going to be a disturbing fact. Ferrari, maybe, who didn't do too badly back in Mexico.
Well, I'll throw another one in there as well because it's been a Mercedes-Benz that's never been particularly good there, but it does work in Brazil. Remember with George, when he won his sprint race. So there are different opportunities, I think.
Do we think the dominance of Lando will continue
I think Brazil? If he keeps in the bubble that he's in mentally, I think yes. I think it will carry on through because I think he's in that powerful position to carry on doing an easier race weekend than what it was before. I think it was a lot more complicated before. It was made more complicated. I think it's more free now. And that freedom, I think, will allow him to do their job. So I'm going to go Lando, to be honest.
I mean, I never seen a 0.2 of a second gap before, 3. Lando suddenly, the time difference between the cars has been so tiny, and there's suddenly this little gap open up.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether McLaren have found a sweet spot with their setup, but Red Bull have been bringing upgrades. So I don't know if it's going to be a straightforward race for either of the McLarens because I think Max could be in there on the front row.
Oh, he's going to be definitely hustling and pressurising them. And we go back to Austin, and that little kerfuffle with the Red Bull mechanic or whatever it was going back onto the track itself. And then there was talk about the tape that Lando had put on the wall, and he was going to go there and peel it off. There's going to be games like that as well. And Red Bull are very much on the high side of playing those games, I think.
So anyway,
that's
it's
part
down
of
to
it.
so psychologically they're strong. They're coming. Red Bull, Max are going to be in there, upsetting the delicate balance they have at McLaren between the drivers. Yeah, and he knows that if he can make them wobble, then they might trip over each other. So anyway, expect fireworks. When is it? This is coming out just before. When is fireworks?
That's before.
That's just after the show comes out. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I'm not going to any.
So we're going to get. Well, we will get fireworks, but not.
But I'm waiting for those. I'll wait for the Brazilian fireworks.
What's it, Brazil? Anyway, listen, don't worry about that.
I'm not.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
It has been good.
And also you did very well because I had one.
I'm looking after
We've
myself.
done brilliantly. Yeah.
I've lost a little bit of weight over the last couple of months, and I'm going to stick to not. That's my weakness. Chocolate. Pointing at the biscuits on the table. I haven't had one.
Well, we're going to weigh you when you come back next time for the next podcast, which will be after.
That's fine by me.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Cool. Lovely.
So that's it for episode 1.
Been fun.
We've been born. We're born into the world. Episode 1, but we're coming back for the rebirth. Episode 2, which is coming out next month. That was nonsense. All right.
Was there a gap?
That's fine. I think we'll use that. That was nonsense at the end.
I was going to say that first.
It's perfect. That's good.